Greetings! In today's video, I'll be taking a look at the small Aquafine travel set by Daler-Rowney. It's a really neat little palette made from white plastic, with a shrink-wrap plastic packaging and a cardboard sleeve. It has fairly minimal and efficient packaging. The set is pretty simple. The base holds 12 half pans and a small travel brush, while the lid serves as a mixing area. The pans are easy to remove and, surprise, they are labeled with the brand, the color's name, the color's number, pigment information, and batch number. A pan that has the pigment information on it. I think that's a first. The brush is held in a space at the top of the pans, but it doesn't seem to hold very well in place. It tends to pop right out when I push it down in its place. From the packaging, it seems like the pan's tray can be removed. I struggled for a good few minutes, and turns out it's much easier to remove if one takes the pans out of it. There's not much of a point to taking it out though, unless you want to thoroughly clean the palette. The next step is to swatch out the colors. I made a chart on the usual bee cotton paper I use for this. The colors were easy to re-wet and vibrant. The color lineup is a bit peculiar, as the palette has 2 yellows, 2 reds, 2 blues, 1 green, 4 earth tones, and 1 neutral. The yellows are fairly similar, as are the blues. Oddly, the warm yellow color, gamboge hue, looks a lot more warm as a pan than it does on the paper. The 2 blues use the same base pigment, so I am not quite sure why they thought to include those 2 colors. The Aquafine range has a lot of nice colors available in pans, and the cerulean or phthalo blue would have made for a better cool blue than cobalt. The cobalt is a warm blue, just like the ultramarine next to it. The cadmium yellow deep hue or Indian yellow hue would have also made for a more obvious warm yellow, I think. I proceeded to try the paints on a drawing. I was pleasantly surprised by the granulation in the ultramarine blue deep. It is really quite nice and added a really nice texture to the rocks in my drawing. The colors all mixed really well, and they also layered without any issues. All the colors re-wet well and were pigmented. I once mentioned how much I loved the Aquafine paints from another set I reviewed, and I still stand by that statement. The colors work very well, and they let you do pretty much whatever you want. The palette was fun to use too. The mixing area is a nice size for a portable set, and the surface doesn't bead. It might bead a very little bit at the beginning when you start using it, but by the time my painting was done, it was no longer beading at all. You can see that I used a lot more layers than usual, and again, it went so well. I'm impressed. I did not use the small travel brush in my painting, but I wanted to see what it looks like. It's a synthetic hair brush in size 4 and seems to work quite well. I don't often use smaller size brushes, but this one is clearly usable and would be quite helpful in a pinch. I wanted to show the Aquafine set that I've reviewed before. I've said many times that this is an excellent student set and very affordable. This one is about $10 and the colors are really nice and useful. The palette itself is a thin plastic insert, which isn't great, in a metal tin, so in that regard, the new palette is an upgrade. Also, the metal tin one contains 10 colors, while the plastic set contains 12 colors. Both travel brushes are the same size and I suspect the same make. The newer one has a slightly different design, but they still look the same. The two sets are different in size, one being closer to a square shape and the other being definitely more narrow and long. They are both quite thin, which is a great feature in travel set. Both sets have fairly different color lineups. They have 5 colors in common, but the rest of the colors differ. I couldn't say if one of the sets is better than the other when it comes to the color choice, because that's a subjective element. You probably know what I prefer by now, but I would love a better warm and cool primary triad selection. Aquafine has many suitable colors to make a 12 colors selection even more versatile. The 12 color set could benefit from a magenta and a cyan color, as well as a better warm yellow. Here's something pretty neat with the newer set though. Since Daler-Rowney sells Aquafine as pans in open stock, it's really easy to substitute colors. The pans themselves are not expensive. They are the same price than the Cotman half pans, but a lot more fun to use, in my opinion. The last thing I wanted to check was to see how the palette cleans up. To no one's surprise, the staining pigments do indeed leave a stain on the plastic. It's not the sort of things that bothers me, but you might want to consider this if you prefer to use palettes that stay white. There are quite a few ways to clean up a stained palette too, so it's not a big deal. So what's my overall take in a nutshell? This is a very good, very affordable little travel set that is well worth the expense. It's a little over $10 on Jackson's. That's the only place so far that I've been able to find this set. You can also get replacement pans on Jackson's for a few dollars per pan. The colors are strong and you know what you're getting, as they don't hide their pigment information. I will definitely be recommending this set to anyone who is looking for good, inexpensive paints. So what do you think? Would you purchase this set? Let me know in the comments below. Take care. Bye bye.